In this lesson, we'll show you how to transform items using the measure tools. You can move items in your model in various positions and in various ways by using the measure tools. First, go to the Review tab. From the Measure panel, you're able to move different elements of your project in various ways. So let's say we want to move one of these beams, and we want to place it somewhere within the rectangle formed by these four beams. Well, the first thing you need to do is select which beam you want to move. We're going to move the south-facing beam, so click on it. Now we're going to use the measurement tools to measure how far the selected beam is from the midpoint of the west-facing beam. So for this center line, we're going to be estimating the midpoint. But if you know the exact coordinate, you can use that as well. This doesn't mean that you need to know the exact x, y, and z coordinates. Let's say we want to move this corner of this flange. And I'll go ahead and zoom in on it using the navigation tools. So we want to move this edge of this beam. And we want to move it all the way over to the exact edge of another beam. Well, we can use the measurement tools to accomplish that task very easily. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, though, let's first just show you how to move this steel beam to the midpoint of the west-facing beam, approximately. Make sure you're in the Review tab, and from the Measure panel, click the drop menu under the Measure icon, and choose Point to Point. Now, pick a point roughly halfway across the width of the south-facing beam, and click there. Then pick a point halfway across the width of the west-facing beam, and click there. Once you've marked your 2 points, choose the Select option. I chose the Quick Access toolbar, and select the beam you want to move. Now it gets a little tricky. Click the arrow on the lower right-hand portion of the Measure panel. This will open the Measure tools, giving you the x, y, and z coordinates of the start and end of the measurement line you just created. Now, to actually move your beam to the new location, click the word Measure under the Measure panel, and then transform selected items. Your selected beam will be moved to the other end of your measurement line. It's this tool that lets you transform the selected item. Note that it moved the selected item from the initial start point to the end point that you indicated with your measurement tool. So let's try another transformation. This time, as we discussed previously, we'll move the edge of the beam that we just moved over to the edge of the other beam, the one facing north, so that the 2 corners butt up next to each other. Before we start, we're going to have to clear our previous measurement by clicking the Clear button under the Measure panel. Now we'll make another point-to-point measurement. We're going to zoom in very close, because you can actually snap to the exact corner of objects in Navisworks. In order for this to work correctly, you have to be very, very precise. So zoom in as close as you need, and take extra time to make sure you get exactly on that little corner. An indicator box will appear around the cursor when you know you're in the right spot. Once you've found the exact corner, you can start shifting over to the second beam, so that we can place the other end of the measurement line on the exact corner there. Feel free to use the navigation tools in order to get the best view possible for placing your point. As soon as the small X appears, showing you're exactly on the corner, left click. Now, just like before, go back to your Select tool and select the beam that you want to move. Click the arrow next to the word Measure on the Measure panel, and then select Transform Selected Items. Just like before, the start point will be shifted to the end point, and the selected item will be transformed along the same dimensions. In this case, as you can see, because we spent so much time making sure we got those corners right, the two beams line up exactly. Being able to shift different elements of your model so precisely is an extremely useful functionality, particularly if you have two versions of your model, an old one and a new one. If you want to move the new version of your model to exactly where the old version was, you can transform using the Measure tool to get the project there exactly. You could just choose one point common to both models, and then select the entirety of the model you want to transform.